Greetings, 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 greetings. Welcome to Blended Healing. Tonight, we're going to have a fantastic topic. It's going to be really good. It could be triggering for most. So I just want to let everybody know that this is a safe space for like-minded people where you can come, kick back, and be your authentic self. And we're just going to wait a few minutes. I have one of my panelists has come in the door. We're going to wait for her to come up, and then we're going to wait for our other panelists to come in. If not, we're going to get it started. Going to wait to the 2-minute mark, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so anytime you would like to come up, doll, just hit that link, okay? Hi, doll.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm excited about this topic. I've been doing a lot of research today, and it was very disheartening to me.
Oh
When
yeah.
things that I was looking at, it just really, really, really broke my heart. And yeah, I didn't like it at all. And I jumped off of that, and then I went and I listened to another content creator to just get myself balanced back, you know, to what I was, to just get me back in a headspace, because I knew it was bad. I just didn't know how bad it was.
Right.
It was very tough. When you live in a bubble, sometimes you just don't realize, and you don't realize how much things are the norm now.
Right.
And and I worry about our children. I say it all the time. I worry about our kids. It's like, where are the people that's supposed to support our kids? Where are they that protects them? So this topic to me was very important, to start talking about and seeing how others feel about it. So I'm gonna get this party started. So if it's just me and you, it's just me and you. We're gonna kick it. We're gonna talk about it. I got some subject matter that I wanted to cover, and let's just get to it, okay, doll?
Absolutely. Let's get to it. I'm here.
All right. So welcome tonight discussion with women. Talk about it. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit and I'm going to let you introduce yourself for those who'll be coming in. Um, so you could just tell everybody a little bit about who you are. So let me get your little banner up that I made and let me take down. I'm a little slow on the uptake, but
It's
I'm working
okay. Take your
on
time.
it.
I see you with your intro and your videos. I like it.
Thank you very much. I try very hard. I'm a very visual person. So
Mhm.
it's the things that kind of like put me in the mood. I just like to create things. So thank you so much for being part of the Women of Wisdom Roundtable. I think I'm going to do this at least once a month to cover topics that I think that need to be talked about. And with all of the stuff going on, it's just really disheartening, like I said. So, wise woman, thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of the panel. I truly appreciate you. Please have everybody know who you are.
Oh, I appreciate you for having me. Well, there's not much to it. I'm a wise woman. I just pretty much am on a constant journey to become wiser, to become a better woman, and to reach my highest self. So that's just pretty much where I am at this point in my life. Nothing is more important than the work that I have to put in to become the wisest woman that I can possibly be. Um,
Ashe, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. So, we're going to go right into the topic. I already put in the discussion points. So, I'm just going to throw in real quick what they are, and then we're going to tackle them one by one. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, good.
Okay.
Okay, so that's basically, yeah, it's really intense. So I know that this could be triggering for a lot of people. So we're going to take one task at a time.
Okay.
So the first one that comes up that I was kind of pondering about is who's raising our children?
Whew.
Who's raising our children? Is the TV raising them? Is Big Mama still around? Is Pop around?
Are
Who's
they
raising
raising
our kids?
themselves? Are they
Are
raising
they raising
themselves?
themselves? I mean,
Okay.
like it's real talk though. It's real talk. Are they
Yeah.
raising themselves? Is grandma and mom in the club together smoking on a hookah? I mean, who's raising our kids?
Yeah. This generation.
I mean,
Um.
I really, really would like to know who's raising our children right now. What are your thoughts around that? Who's raising our kids? Our melanated young children,
I
even
mean,
up to young adults. What's your thoughts around that?
I honestly do believe, for the most part, social media. I can't even say TV. I don't know if we can actually say TV anymore because social media is the new TV. Don't you think so? At least in a
That's
sense.
that. That's facts.
So I didn't.
TikTok,
Yeah,
YouTube, everything, IG. Every time you see a kid, they got their face in an electronic, and they're
right.
not even paying attention what's going on around them in the world.
That's
So,
right.
do you supplement your children with these electronics in order to allow you to do the things that you want to do? Or are you giving it to them as a useful tool to keep in contact with society? Or is it something that you give them in order to like pacify them for them to not be out of step with everybody else? Like,
Right. Like
so yeah.
I think it's kind of
So,
bittersweet. The
mhm.
social media is the intended purposes of it or what it's actually used for. Um, but it's so open and so broad that everything is available. So it's almost kind of like whatever they want to know when their curious minds get to get to flowing. All they got to do is pick up the phone and Google.
Yeah, but what is the good evening, Erica? Thanks for stopping in. I really
Erica,
appreciate that.
hi Erica.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
talking about we just started the chat. We're hoping, I don't know where my other panelist is, and hopefully she'll come. If not, we're just gonna keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? We're talking
Mhm.
about our children, who's raising our kids. And that's the topic for tonight. And we're just weighing through all of the different things that may affect our children because the way things are going in this world today, it's really hard to see. Like I was doing a lot of research and background because I'm kind of out of touch because I don't really watch the news. The news is depressing to me. And
Yeah.
when I actually sat down today and started looking after article after article after article about our kids. Hi, lady, how are you? Welcome. You know, it's just one thing after another,
Hey,
you know,
lady.
and it's very disheartening. It's
Yeah.
very disheartening.
And then some.
And go ahead. I'm sorry, babe. Go ahead.
I don't know why. I was just thinking about how I know it's almost like because we're talking about who's raising the kids, and we don't, we say it's social media and TV raising the kids, but is that to blame the parents, or is the parents caught up in a busy, heartless society to where a lot of parents use social media and gadgets to keep their kids occupied because of they're working or busy or occupied clubbing. It's almost like I see some parents use it as a um, to keep them occupied. Or like when you're a kid, they
Mm.
keep the cartoons on so the baby would be quiet.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Facts. But I don't know. I can relate to the way I grew up. I did grow up. It's just so different, man, because
Yeah,
we didn't have that. We didn't have the availability of that. And when you're growing up, you don't think of the what you don't have. You think of what you have and you keep it going. We had to go outside and play. And when I tell you everybody on the block knew whose kid you was, everybody on the block knew who you was. And they can reprimand you and get at you and it would be okay. Like
there are
today,
those
you can't even
villages.
let somebody say something to your kid. You ready to like bust them down. But
Okay,
when I was growing up, it took the whole block. Your whole neighborhood knew who you was.
right. Where
So
are those villages at now? Where are
that
they?
part,
Yeah.
that part, like who's raising your kids, man? The other thing I want to talk about is moving on to that, who's nurturing them?
Whew.
Who's nurturing them? An electronic is cold, baby. But who's actually loving on them kids and nurturing them and pointing them in the right direction? Like the lady up the street when I was growing up, and I got in trouble because, you talk to the old ladies on the block, they want to know they put the glasses down on their nose and they looking at everything like mother sister when you're going down the block.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, they know. And you got to be, and just like what Erica said, you got to be in the house. Don't let the lights catch you outside,
Oh yeah, it's a
you know.
problem.
And then you, yeah, that's a problem. So, like, when did that break stop? When did that stop? What
Right.
generation? Because I'm a little lost in the sauce.
And
I guess I was so caught up.
I see it all the time where because this is a big no when it came to my girls, but I'll leave, get in a car to leave, and I'll see like a little girl, maybe two little girls, sometimes by themselves, one little girl, maybe 10 or 12, by themselves outside at night. And
Oh
in my
no.
in my head, I'm like, where are the parents? And I don't even stay in like a really bad area, but it wouldn't even matter if it was a good area, bad area, because there's predators everywhere. But it just blows my mind that parents will have their kids all over the neighborhood after the sun is out.
When did that change though?
Yeah.
When did that
And then
change?
the nurturing part of it is who's nurturing them? Are they even being nurtured?
That part. Now that's a trigger alert right there. Who's nurturing them? Are they getting nurtured?
Because that could be
Because
a
you
part
can't.
of the big issue is that these babies are not well, it's probably a lot of our issues as adults, not getting
Mhm.
that extra nurturing.
Yeah, because um, like I said, I have to relate everything to I'm going back in my mind and thinking about how I grew up. And I was most definitely a daddy's girl, and I had a two-parent home. But I also have friends that have a single parent home, but it was no different. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because the men on the block, if they needed a father figure or something like that, the men on the block would step up. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And they would be like chastising them or telling them, here, let me show you how to ride this bike real quick, or trying to instill in them some type of sense of belonging, or teaching them how to tinker with their bikes or whatever, just little things to give them something, some type of knowledge.
Right.
And like I said, I grew up in a two-parent home. My father was never home, but I really didn't, and sometimes it bothered me growing up, but there were so many of us. I grew up in stages, like I'm the last child out of seven.
Okay.
So, but there was always some type of activity going on at my house because I have brothers, but they didn't live there. Only one brother at the time lived at the house when I was growing up. The other ones have gone.
Right.
So it was only the three youngest ones still at home when I was coming up. And it was
Okay.
just like so much activity because your brother's got friends and all the friends are coming in and out of the house. And my
Right.
mother was around cooking like 24/7, it felt like to me. You know,
Feeding
she
everybody.
always, gee, I always had a pot on or something, up in the house. And the only thing that I can't say that I can't really relate to is grandparents because my parents were old. So in some cases, my parents were equivalent to other people's grandparents
Right.
because my mother had me at 41.
Oh
So that
wow.
means yeah. So when I was born, my father was 46, 47 years old when I was born. So like I said, I was like mostly somebody else's my parents were like my grandparents.
So
For real.
you were definitely getting that nurturing because that was still in that time.
Yeah. And my mother, I had my brothers, they were my mother's hitmen. You know what I'm saying? So they were
As,
the police.
as they
They
should
were
be.
the ones that be like that. And then I used to be, and then I was rotten. I was spoiled. I was bad. Like my mother used to say, don't even come up in the house like that. But was all out of love. And then my brothers at the time, when they used to like harass me and everything, I would think they were just being so mean to me, but not knowing what's really good. They were watching out for you. Like I said,
Mhm.
they're my mother's henchmen. And I always had an issue with somebody telling me what to do. tell me what to do. But you came in there, and if something was wrong, like when I was sick, I can roll up in my parents' bed and just lay there. If it was a lightning storm, I can get in the middle of them in a bed and I would feel safe. Do our kids get that now?
Mm. Yeah, that's
Do they
very
get that
important
now?
to me. I talk to my daughters all the time, um, about just seeing where their heart space is, their head space is, hugs, something as simple as just a hug.
Mm-hmm.
It could be
My
something as
daughter's
simple as
home.
that.
Yeah. I have a daughter that's 20. She's my only child,
Mm.
and she's home from school. But and she's my only child by birth, but I have two sons, and then I have grandchildren, you know, also. That's like became a part of my family because I married into that.
Right.
And I
Absolutely.
was, and my husband always used to tell me, I'm going to be the fun guy all the time. I told him that wasn't fair. But I could tell you what, they know that, I always beat it in the head regardless of wherever you at in the world. All you got to do, my husband and I say this all the time, I don't care where you at. If you feel unsafe, pick up that phone. No
Absolutely.
judgment, no heat. And they did that. They pick up that phone and they would say like a couple of words, and you knew that they were in a situation, but they were trying to save face at the same time. All right,
Right.
Dad, I'm coming home. Yeah, all right. Oh, you gonna come and get me now? All right. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and it truly was like that.
But you definitely want your kids to call you. You definitely want your kids to be open to call you and not be afraid or unsure, or think you're gonna judge them or fuss at them. I think that's another important thing when it comes to our babies too.
Yeah, but I'm sitting back, right? Like I told you today, I was doing research about this topic and I've been looking at different things today.
Mm.
And I was looking at um, children being murdered.
Oh, we're losing our babies. We are. Have these
Children
the
are being
numbers for
murdered.
the kidnapping? Those
Oh
numbers
my
that how many
God.
babies are kidnapped a year? Oof.
Yeah, but it's like I said, again, who's raising them?
Yeah.
How come they're not safe?
And I
I was
understand.
watching
Go
I
ahead.
was watching a story today and it broke my heart. It was a 6-year-old little girl, 6 years old.
Mm,
Her mother put a man over her kid. Not only did
mm,
she put a man over her kid, the man was a convicted and known child predator.
mm,
He was wanted. He had a record up in Alaska where he murdered his only 1-year old child. 1-year old child.
yeah, that's
Then
sad.
he came down stateside and then he got in trouble or he got locked up for taking a 3-year old kid and dipping him in hot boiling water. But
Oof.
you want to be with him and you trust to have your 6-year old child around that dude?
She's just as sick as him. And there's 100 stories out there like that. That's how often
Oh
it's
my
happening now.
God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into the part where what they taught that child to do.
Mm,
He wanted to get drugs so bad that he walked the woman to the ATM machine because she kept telling him no, and he must have pulled some violence on her. Walked her to the ATM machine with her kid and said, "Go in there and get me some money." But she had to leave her keys with him, her phone with him, and her kid.
mm.
Now, you tell me, who's raising these kids? Your kids ain't safe with you? You the mama.
Who raised you? Who
That
raised the
part.
kids? Who raised the kids?
So,
Who raised the kids' parents? This is ridiculous. But this is let you knowing that we're in these times where it's getting that serious.
so again, where's the safe haven? Where's the safe haven? Where's grandma at? Is grandma out there now? All of a sudden, she done put up her ballet shoes and she out there. She done put on her high heels. I'm just saying, she took her slippers off and now she out there in the club finger popping with the
Okay.
daughter or the son. Because
Well,
growing up, grandmas were grandmas. Like my grandma, what? She had to be in her what? I don't even know, 60s or 70s when I was born. 60s when I was born. You know. Now grandmas are like 40 years old, yo. I'm like,
yeah,
yo. I
they
mean,
are.
like, what happened?
My grandma, she's almost 90, sitting in the house, but ready to come out the house with her shotgun. And if anybody mess with any of her grandbabies, but
I'm just saying.
she definitely sitting at home, and she definitely hugs and loves. But I do see a lot of these young grandmothers. I've actually seen a 35-year-old grandmother.
What?
Yes, this young lady
Stop
had.
playing with me right now.
I know a
I
young
mean,
lady
no
had a
judgment
baby
or nothing.
at 12.
I'm shocked.
Absolutely. She had well, I know a young lady had a baby at 12, had her second at 13.
Up north or down south?
South. Yeah, of course down south. But
Oh,
I will give
yeah.
it to that young lady. She's very nurturing and she's raising her kids and she's busting her she's older now, but she busted her kid she busted her butt to take care of her kids, got herself a career at that young age. I couldn't believe it because I see women our my age who don't do that.
Yeah, because that means that the odds were stacked against her from the
Very
beginning.
strong. Yeah, she's
From the
very
very
strong
beginning.
from
But
the very
something
beginning.
motivated her to keep going.
And
When did
the odds are stacked against grown women having babies now. I mean, it's I don't even think it really matters.
but when did all the love stop?
I can't say.
When
I'm
did all the
40.
love stop?
I'm 40.
Uh,
So I was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s. And I remember love. I remember, I know my mom, she cooks, feeds all the kids, watches all the kids, feeds the neighborhood. My dad, he was strict as can be, but he was so loving and fun at the same time. He used to call it strict and fair. Um,
mm,
so I knew, and I'm not saying it was the best situations, especially between them two, but still individually, the love was there, the recognition was there, the guidance was there. So that absolutely was going to have to happen with my child. I was just breaking some curses that did come about because there's still some curses that came from my parents,
mm.
my grandparents, and so forth and so on. But it's just very important for me to make sure my daughter has that. And my daughter, I get on her nerves. I be doing too much. I be like, how the hell I'm doing? A teenagers, you doing too much. But I
Doing
tell her
too much.
all the time, that if you didn't have it, you would want it. But when you have it, you don't want it.
That's true. Because my daughter told me today. Like I said, I'm an older parent.
Right.
I'm 60 and my daughter's 20. Do the math. You know what I'm saying? I'm the age of some of their grandparents, her friends' grandparents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have to supplement for my daughter not having any. She only has one grandmother. One at the age of 20. Just one. My mother was long gone. I lost my mother when I was 25. I lost my dad when I was 30, going on 31.
Oh man.
So I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? I was
Yep.
blessed to have my mother and everything. And when your parents go, it's like y'all are just floundering around like free spirits because my family wasn't like that. And we also were taught to suck it up and handle it. You know what I'm saying? Because we were made to be strong like that.
Yeah.
You're going to make a way out of no way. There's no time for you to be a child. When my mother died, I had to grow up. I had to
Right.
step in her shoes and take care of my dad and help take care of him and still be out there finger popping and whatever. I had my daughter when I was going up, I was 40 years old when I
Yeah.
had my daughter. Right. And I mean 3 months shy of 41. I had my daughter, and then raising them totally different than you trying to apply the rules and stuff that you were raised with and put it on them. And I
Right. And
was
all the
told,
generations.
yeah, I was told I can't raise my kids the way I was raised. I said, well, why? I said, nothing wrong with where I was raised. You know what I'm saying? I'm very stern, man. You have to do one job, go to school, get good grades, and bring them back. You know what I'm saying? That's your job.
Yeah.
But right now, we so busy focusing on where we are that we're dropping the ball when it comes to our kids. We're dropping the ball.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then again, where's the father figures at? Where's the
Oof.
father figures at?
Yeah, that's definitely another
We are a
situation.
bunch of women raising young men and young women. We got to take on two roles most of the time. I mean, like I told you, growing up, the men on the block would make sure that everybody else was cool, even though if they didn't have a father figure, they had one there. To this
Yeah.
day, people still remember my dad, and my
Yeah.
dad's been going. If he was alive, he would be over 100 years old. He was born in 1916. You do the math.
Woo.
I know when I tell that people are like, "What?" Yeah, my father was born in 1916. My grandparents in the 1800s. Absolutely.
Great. Goodness. 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 That's
Yeah,
so many conversations. I have so many questions.
and yeah. So, but my father was a father figure to a lot of people. They knew my father was fair.
Hmm.
My father didn't, you ask him a question, he's gonna tell you the truth. He was
Yeah.
definitely a truthful person, you know, but he
Right.
also was a part of what we're missing now. He was a part of the support system. They
Yeah.
knew that Mr. Harold up the street is willing to help him out. They would come to him for money, or they needed a ride. Can you fix something on my car? Can you get me a ride here? Can you do that, Mr. Harold? Mr. Harold, I got in trouble. Please don't tell my mom. Can you help me out? Like things like
Yeah.
that.
That's how my
That's
dad was.
yeah.
Yeah.
People will come to you and they will come to, like I said, my house was a Grand Central Station. But my father didn't take no shorts. He was mad cool and laid back. But when you got him to that level, clear the zip code, man. Because it was a wrap.
Yeah.
The zip code.
Yeah.
It took a lot for him to get there, but when he got there, that was it.
Oh yeah. That's
I
my
tell you
father
what.
too. His temper and that anger in him. And out of all his 7, 8 kids, I was the one that got that from him, which was why it was
Yeah.
so important for me to work on it because I understood it. I lived it.
Oh man, if I get on my joint, it's not even family affair.
I
But
know. I'm
again,
keeping it
here we
too.
go. Where do our children go for a support system like that? Is there
Yeah.
one still existing? What is your thoughts about that? Is there a support system out there for these kids?
Um, I think there is there are resources. There is, but that doesn't mean necessarily that they're getting access to it. But I do believe that my heart has to tell me that is still here. They just don't have access to it. Um
Okay,
and
so keep going. Please.
And I don't know. I don't even know what to say because it's heartbreaking. There's a lot of things that I personally witnessed myself. Just little things like my daughter, her friend. I cook every Sunday. My mom, she always did that. My dad always did it. It's just something that I just do. And my daughter's like, her friend is like, you're so lucky your mom cooks on Sundays. Um, and it's just one of those situations. She also tells me like, you're so lucky your mom. You could talk to your mom about everything. And this young lady, she's a sweet young girl, but her mom is very hardworking, single parent. So in her mind, she's doing what she's supposed to do. You got a lot of these women, they're doing exactly what they think they're supposed to do, which is work hard, keep a roof over their head, supply with the child everything they need and most of what they want. And that's they think that's enough.
Very,
And so, and it's sad that even in some of these mediocre homes, these kids are still feeling or looking at other kids as, I wish I had that, I want that.
mhm.
And then
I,
that's mental health, that affects mental health, which is such a major issue nowadays too with babies. Not just the babies dying or being kidnapped, it's the mental health that at young ages nowadays they're going through extreme mental health. Like, what the hell is really going on?
this is true. And it almost makes me want to tell people in the community, because I did it. I did it just to, enhance. But right now in this world, you have to be equipped to handle mental health. If you got
Mhm.
to take a course to find out the triggers and the key words and what people do that you think might want to commit suicide. The
Right.
suicide rates are off the chain right now
Hmm.
because these kids feel so lost and just a step away from the kids, the
Right.
parents
The
just
parents,
want
yeah.
to check out, man. They can't handle the pressure anymore.
And that's
They
what
can't.
surprises me, how weak, how broken and weak the parents are. Like, what do you
Why?
expect? What do you expect them to give that child? They
Okay,
can't.
so
We know we have to be able to know and understand ourselves to even think about giving it to someone. We have to be able to receive it as well. And a lot of us really don't understand what love really is. What
you are hitting it right there. That's it right there.
So if you don't know what it is, you don't know the feeling, the thought of it, the internal parts of it, the bad, the good parts of it, then you're just giving an idea of it.
Yeah, because I don't think it can't be explained because there's so many different types of love. And I think that people don't realize that it's broken down into so many different components.
So many,
Um,
right?
and it's almost like I have a chart that I keep at my desk. It's called the feeling words. And I can share that with you at another time, but it's the feeling words. And I'll actually, put it up. Maybe I'll do a little short on it because
Right.
it's a good tool to have because some people, when you get into all of these different emotions, they don't know how to verbalize it. They
Right.
just say, I love you or I'm mad. Like I said, there's only two emotions, love and fear.
Fear. Right.
All the other things are attached to that. There's so many different ways that you can describe love. And there's so many different ways that you can describe fear. It shows up different ways.
Mm,
So it helps you to put a label on to help you to take your emotional temperature,
mm.
to take your emotional temperature. It changes all day long. What you
Yeah.
feel like at 7 o'clock in the morning is not what you're going to feel at 9 o'clock.
Right.
At 9 o'clock, it may change at 11 o'clock, and so on and so forth, because everything is shifting. But if the most important part is to identify it. Once you can identify what it is, then you can work on that.
Yes, I agree.
You can work on what's triggering. So there's different types of support systems. If your parents are being supported, or your mom is supported, or the mom or the dad or people are supported, the grandparents are supported, and they can actually say what they're feeling at that time and put it into words. You don't even have to put it into many. You can put it into one. How are you
Right,
feeling today? I feel confident. Confident goes underneath the love. Okay. How do you feel right now? I feel disrespected. That goes underneath fear, and so on and so forth. So if you're feeling compassionate, compassionate falls underneath love.
right,
Why do you feel compassion right now? Well, I feel compassion because of X, Y, and Z. And then you can break it down from that part. You
right.
know what I'm
I
saying?
like that. You're identifying it, and then you're, like you said, breaking it down to an understanding.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So when it comes to support system, that's something that a tool that a parent can use, even an adult if they're talking to a child. You know what I'm saying? And you can even show them the chart and say, okay, point to what you're feeling right now. Or let me give you the breakdown or simplify the word or find a synonym that can that can go with that word, that feeling word. If
Right,
they can't find the words on the inside of themselves, at least they can point at the word. And if they point that to them, then you can give them the definition of what that is.
right.
So
And
at
they
the
can
same
match
time,
that
they're
feeling.
learning to get in touch with their feelings
Yes,
and
matching those feelings because they only know the word.
right,
They don't know the feeling. They're not recognizing the feeling of the word. I
that
love it.
part.
Yeah.
So that's another part of a support system that you can have,
Hmm.
you know? And then the other thing about it is everybody is so closed off that they don't want to, like, I'm minding my business, and they're turning a blind eye. How
Hmm.
long can you turn a blind eye?
And see, that's where the villages have gone to. They've turned to
Where
blind
is
eyes.
the village, yo? Like growing up, I had a village. I used to
Yes.
get my butt whooped. I used to get told off from the time I hit the top of the block to the time I got to my house. And by the time I got to my house, my mama was standing outside.
Yes, right. I had those kind of parents too. And although my parents weren't like older parents, they still were
Mhm.
absolutely those type of parents. And as much as I might have issues with them individually or even together, it still makes me grateful for them seeing today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I said, my parents are so old that they were like, but they were, my father was mad cool, man. He was mad cool. Everybody loved my father. Everybody feared my mother because my
That
mother
he
was very
teaches.
stoic. But I'm like, yo, y'all got it twisted. It's the opposite way. Like my
Not
mother is a bad marshmallow. And they were like, is your mother home? Like, yeah. Oh my God, I can't go over there. I'm like, no, 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 she's a bad cool. Nah, man. I'm like, no, for real. They were like, yo, I'm not messing with your moms, but your dad is cool, man.
oh,
Because my
that's
dad would joke around with them, but he was like, he was the one. But never really saw him like that. And it's so funny because at my age, and I look at myself and my husband has a lot of my father's qualities. And I'm like my mother. And I said, I would never be like her. You know what I'm saying? But I
oh,
find myself being more and more like her as I get older because I
all right.
everybody comes to me for everything.
That's why they say never. Yeah. That's a curse
And my
word.
phone rings all night long. My phone rings and it's okay. And my
Yeah.
husband is like, Kyle, ain't you tired? Man, so I said, listen, they just need an ear or some advice or,
I love
some
it.
information or
When
how
my
can they
daughter
fix
comes,
that? How can
right,
they write that letter? You know what I'm
right.
saying? You never know. Like my daughter had a friend in high school. Dude, you know what I'm saying? He never showed any inkling that anything was going on in his home life. Good kid, good grade, honor system, the whole nine, right?
Hmm.
But every time I saw him, I would always say his full name, like recognize him, like I see you. And I say his full name and I would give him a hug. I would joke around, because my daughter would be like dying. But I joke around with her friends, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm interested in her friends.
Right, but see, that's what I was
And he
talking
was
about when
around.
you ask, are those do I think that that is still around? Because even those kids who might not be getting nurturing anywhere, and but they come across you and they get a piece of it, even if it's for a moment. So it's out there. It's just some kids don't have access to it on a regular, but they might get pieces here and there, like through their friends' parents or through a teacher while they're at school.
And I didn't know that I had such an impact on him by just talking to him and saying those little funny things to him.
Yes.
This, this kid came to me and bought me a gift for my birthday one year. Like he really made it. Like he put thought in it. And this is high school. This is only a couple of years ago. And he just said, I just want to thank you for always being there and, for me. And I was like, what did I do? I'm like,
That's a
okay.
beautiful
He
thing,
said,
though.
I made you this. And it
That's
was like the most beautiful, thoughtfulest thing that I didn't even know that I impacted another child. Because I always joke around with my daughter's kids. I mean, her friends and everything like that. I joke
yeah.
around. How you doing? How's your family doing? I could do it in a way that I really want to know how they're doing, or I do it to intimidate them, like to see what you made of, you know?
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm terrible. But I do that.
That's how I
But
am. I be all in my daughter's, her and her friends and little crew she has on. I know all of them, their names,
mm,
their ages, and she like, oh my god, mom. But her friends, they'll be on group calls and they'll go out their way to like make her come to me to say hi. And I know that I might make them feel good, but they're giving me something too in return. Because when they do that, it makes my heart flutter. I'd be like, oh man, like, I could hear her fussing, like, no, I'm not going to go tell her. And they'll make her get up to come tell me hi because that's what we need to do sometimes, go out of our way for these kids and not just our own.
this is true because
Mhm.
you just never know how you impact. Like I had a situation where my granddaughter, she's a year younger than my daughter, and I half raised her. She's been in this home since she was 8 years old. Now she's in
Mhm.
her second year of college. And she has a friend who comes from a very large family and she's the oldest. And at the
Oh,
time she's the oldest out of all of her siblings. So she's like the second mom
but yeah,
for all of
absolutely.
her siblings. And she just comes over here and my granddaughter hated here because it was always so quiet. She liked noise, she liked moving around, she liked all of that stuff,
Hmm.
you know and
Yeah.
her friend would say, can we just go to your house? I just want to breathe. Your house is so peaceful. And she'd be like,
Mm.
what? She's like, your house is so peaceful, man. I just feel like it. And then they would come and she would just lay across the bed and just relax. Or they
Hmm.
would go out by the pool and they would just like kick their feet in the water and just like you could see them taking a breath because they're raising kids. You want to
Yeah.
talk about kids raising kids? Those kids are raising kids.
Yes, I was going to
And
actually go back to that. You went over a very important topic about the oldest being the mother, second mother, and you can scratch that because sometimes they're the mother, and the real mother is the second mother.
that part,
I mean, if
that
you
part,
we're gonna
because
be raw and get deep about it, man, for real.
that part, because um, I'm sorry, I got distracted for a second. That part because they are really truly. I'm sorry, one second, I got distracted by one of the panelists that should have been out. You're more than welcome, doll. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. She knows who I'm talking to. Yeah. So that's true because in that
Mhm.
incident of that child, she was the one. The
Right.
mother was the secondary. The mother would be in her room, and plus she had her mother had has health issues. Health
Mm.
issues. But in between all the health issues, all the children were coming.
Wow.
So there's this, and she's the oldest, and she's my daughter's age. And
And
there's a
it's
lot of
it's a lot of them, and it goes back to saying that us as mothers, though, we
Mhm.
honestly, and I'm gonna put myself in it because as a mother, in any situation, you honestly are trying to do the best that you can do, um,
Mm.
but you don't
But
realize
there's
what
no,
you're actually
but
doing.
there's, yeah, but there's no shade with that. You know what I'm
No.
saying? Because if you're a single parent and you have all of these other kids that you're the breadwinner. You have to
Hmm.
figure it out. Every kid has a different personality. So naturally, your oldest child is who's growing up with you.
Yeah.
So naturally, you look to them to support you in the supporting role. It's
Right.
just natural because maybe they grew up that way. You know what I'm
And
saying? There's always been support,
that's right.
you know, and it helps them become the other part of them. But when does it too much? You know,
Mhm.
those kids need to be looked at. Do they need to go to a therapist? Do they need to, what happens? But what you don't want to happen is that part,
Yeah. Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
they welcome them in with open arms
Open arms for almost nothing.
and they swear by the set. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
swear by the set. I know kids from great good families that fall into the set. And you don't even
Yeah.
understand why. Like what was you lacking so much that you feel that you need to roll up into that?
Yeah. That's something that's cursed in our streets. It's a curse. It's nothing but a curse. And it's not even just gangs because I'm in the southeast, and we'll just say that. And there are gangs here, but a lot of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, places like that. These places bang hoods too, and they might not even be gangbangers, but they bang for their hood, for
That
South Side,
part.
for South Side Street. You know what I'm saying? The dirty, dirty murk.
Child.
And they not in gangs, but they is absolutely going hard for
They
they hood.
represent their neighborhood. Yeah, because
Yeah,
South Side can't mix with the station, and the station can't mix with, the other parts. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, you Southeast, I'm Northeast
And
all
I
day.
all day, and
Empire State. So and they
yeah,
represent. So not only do they have that neighborhood part of it, but they also will. That's gearing them up to fall into a set
right,
because it's a natural graduation up,
yeah. This one of the worst
natural
things
progression.
person in our streets though is the gangs in these street hoods, and I get it. I don't even want to dig too deep because that conversation can go on and on. But they're killing each other more than anybody could,
Yeah,
more than anybody killing
it
each
leads
other.
to violence. It leads to violence. So then it goes back to the part of who's raising your kids, who's nurturing them, why do they feel lack? Where's the support system? Why do you feel that your children need to go into that? Is it a sense of pride or is it peer pressure? Is it something that you're truly lacking or you're just looking at the next and you just want to fit in?
Well, then
So,
that can go back to lifestyles, um, and we have to take it there again to the lifestyle and hip hop and the industry and glorifying and perpetuating the idea and the look of this grand life and how fun it is and money, cars, clothes.
But then
street
you have
life.
them, but then you
You know,
have them out there telling you that it ain't like that.
it is not like that because I got best of both worlds. I got the nice middle class, and I got the straight street hood, and that's just what it is. It's you see things like that. And I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted myself. Hold on.
Go get yourself some water, girl.
Um,
I don't know. I'm just like I said, I was looking through the stuff and then I was looking at this old clip that I saw that these kids are so social media bound, right? They literally, like when I tell you growing up from what I know when I was in the street to today, you want to talk about some dumbass criminals? Stop
woo,
playing with me. I'm talking about your life is social media. You can't put the phone down and you sitting up there holding a Glock in your left and you got your phone in your right. You giving them evidence
or you
that you're
wearing,
running around with a Glock.
yeah, and you
Oh,
know,
and they be showing all your tats, all where they can just say, okay, he's got a tat on the left arm, up on the upper right.
and that's a part of what social media is doing to the generation, to us, raising them when it comes to who's raising them and social media raising them. And they get, I mean, you got to understand, like you kind of go in a loop or the matrix, if you want to call it, to that control that they have over us and our minds. Is so strong that you can't even notice. You don't even pay attention, and it'd be so simple. That's why you say they'd be the dumbest. Because I know
They are
back
the
in my
dumbest
day, we were
criminals
not
I have
trying to get
ever seen
caught.
in my life.
We worked
I just
very
shake my
hard.
head. I shake my head. I said, real G's move in silence. Y'all are just sitting up there just filming everything, doing a documentary for the police for 12. You know what I mean? Like you just sit there documenting.
It was
It's the
very important
craziest
to
thing
stay
I've
low
ever
key.
seen.
And it was very important for, like you said, for people not to know your business. You worked hard for people not to know your business or to get caught. Now you're giving yourself, you're giving yourself.
Child. The first thing they ask you, they do, can you give me your phone, please? That's what they want. Police are sitting there watching every Instagram, every Facebook post, all TikToks, wherever else social media that they on, all of this other kind of stuff that you on. Police are on there quicker than you are, man.
Man, I'm
If they want
telling
to
you.
know anything about you, they just got to put in your name. You know what I'm saying? And then you just got to go one. If they don't know that name, they know who you're associated with. So they're going to go right down the row until they get a ping on somebody's account in social media. And then they're going to backtrack and see who they're connected to.
And it's very easy. I mean,
It's the easiest thing you've
it's
ever,
very
and
easy.
and that's what we know. Popo know more than that. They have a whole cyber station. You know what I'm saying? They got a whole network of cyber that they can sit there and they can go in there and check in and out. But what I'm saying is, it's just not the answer, man. So I'm just like, it goes from gangs, it goes from violence, guns. It's all glorified, like you said.
And understanding like the process of life and and
That's
and
that.
and evolution
Erica.
and evolution. It would be different if you see that, okay, they were going to some kind of betterment, or it was going to ease up at some point. But I think it's so devastating because it's getting worse and it's going to a place where there is no return.
That part.
And that's
Because,
the part that's
yeah,
heartbreaking. When you really sit with that in your heart and soul, it's like, what are we gonna do?
it's so much, I think it's leaning so much more so now, or maybe it's just more prevalent because I'm older. It is leaning so hard and heavy on mental health.
Mental
These
health.
kids have seen too much. They've
Mhm.
seen too much. They don't even have a childhood, man. They go from being a baby, a toddler, to maybe elementary school. From that point forward, they've seen too much.
Yeah.
They've been in the middle too much. When you think that your kids don't know, they know.
Oh, they
Who you
know.
think you masking it from?
They
You know what
know.
I'm saying? They could probably tell you more than that.
I
Here's
cause I
another
rem-
part.
I remember because
Yeah,
I knew when I was young.
that part.
Shit.
I remember back in the day when crack was really like really heavy. I had a young child sit down and tell me, and because their mother was on drugs,
Mhm.
right? And the father knew, but he didn't know the extent of it. And
Right.
because the child is so innocent, the child is going to start communicating to the other parent or maybe another adult and tell them, oh, yeah, well, if you take aluminum foil and then you put it over this, and then you can put this thing right here in the middle of it, and then you can roll it out, and then you can light the stuff on top of the aluminum foil, and then you blow, and then you suck in the smoke.
Man. Mm. And but to even touch further on that, that's where it started. But look where we are now with the hardcore drugs. The
Yeah,
evolution of drugs.
yeah. But they could tell you. I
They can
mean,
tell you. Yeah.
I know people who go to their own kids to have their kids roll their blunts.
And I'm pretty sure that's my point about the social media. You can go Google that. I'm pretty sure. I've never
Oh my
Googled how to
God.
make a pipe, but I'm pretty sure I can go Google right now and it'll pop up. It'll be on somebody's YouTube. There'll be some type of information about it.
That's crazy, but you know, you're right. You're telling the truth. You are absolutely telling the truth with that wise woman.
They'll
I just
probably,
don't know, man. I don't know. So
yeah.
what's a better way? Are the old ways better than the new ways? Because I was told my old ways is out of date of the way I think, the thought processes I have about how I feel that kids should be raised. But then you don't want to offend the parents or anybody like that because you seeing where there's a gap.
So
And
we're
especially
breaking,
if you don't have skin in the game
right.
and you can see it from the outside where your cracks are in the new way, but then people get offended if you go and you telling me like, yo, you know your kid is doing X, Y, and Z, right? And then they be like, don't you tell me nothing about my kids. And then, pass it all out. Trying to
So
be, you ain't trying to be nosy or anything like that or trying to be offensive. But where do you get to the part that you can go, yo, sis, let me holler at you for a minute. Let me tell you what I see. You know what I'm saying? And now you worrying about retaliation from
right.
somebody else or the kids because that's why people don't want to get involved now.
Yeah.
Because of retaliation and they just don't want to get involved and going to the courts and stuff like that. But it's the old way of doing that and even thinking about it versus the new way, which is better? What do you
I,
feel?
I know I don't know why this and it's just filling me up right now that we broke some old curses just to create some new ones.
Mm, mm.
Or are we
So
blending
focused
them
on getting
together?
away from the
Are we
old.
adding on top of the old curses? Are we really breaking curses? And like, it's because it's a new situation, new generation, new times, but still cursed just different ways now, especially now with social media, gangs, drugs. I don't know. I be trying to stay hopeful, but when I think about it in that sense, it's heartbreaking and scary to see like where are we gonna go with this? Like really.
I've seen a thing where I was listening today and people are so geared towards trying to make a better life, trying to make a better life, and making a better life for me and my kids, making a better life for me and my kids. So you work hard, you train hard, you do all of this stuff so you can get up higher in the echelons at work or whatever it is that you have to do. You put all your heart and soul into that. So you're making a new way for your kids, right? And then your kids grow up with all of these things that most people grind and don't have. And
But
the
the
kids
speed,
have access to everything,
but the speed
everything
is
that they
there.
have, right?
Yeah.
And the kids come up and they disappoint the parents because they feel they're not acting in the way that they should. And this new world as far as electronics and what the rose colored glasses and what a family should look like to be successful, right?
Hmm. Right.
And then what ended up happening? That
You.
boy got mad at his mother because she woke him up out of his sleep and
Mm,
he stabbed her to death.
mm, 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 mm.
He stabbed her to death. The neighbors heard her screaming. They said it was such a blood curdling scream, they couldn't even believe it. And he got mad because she woke him up too early.
Because
And
we're.
he asked her for a new set of headphones for his gaming system.
I
And
think
she
that's
told
what I
him
was
no.
about to say. I heard that. I heard that story about the
You heard
game.
that, right?
I heard that one, and that's not the first story I heard about a child killing their parent about a video game either. And that's another crazy thing. You don't hear these weird stories just once.
So is it a simulation that they're invoking violence because of
Absolutely,
these video games?
because look at it. We're feeding the kids nonsense, BS, nothing good that's going to help them grow or know who they are inside. Like everything we're giving them is monetary, technology, you know, the lifestyle, like you said. So we're feeding them, but they're starving in the most important places.
So I think that you're right. I'm gonna say that I think we're so focused on as parents that if we grew up kind of jacked up, right? We're
Hmm.
so focused on how we're gonna get away from that. We don't want to be like our parents. We're gonna be better, and so on and so forth. Because I know that you hear that a lot growing up in a melanated family, in a black family. You hear that a
Right.
lot because our mindset goes all the way back to enslavement, allegedly, right?
Right.
So our mind has already been programmed so much, and all of these outside forces are supposed to help us. And then when your old grandma is sitting over there over her cast iron skillet, teaching you and telling you things that, you was like, that's stupid. Why would they do something like that? I'm gonna do it better. I'm not gonna be like them. And then you go through your life, they go through their life, and it just goes from generation to generation to generation, carrying this on and on and on. Now you think that you have arrived and you break these generational curses, and you're going to take your family out of that. Now you're having a new way, new attitude, new things.
Right.
Have you just created a new generational curse?
Just just created a whole new one. Just added
You
a
just
whole.
created a new one.
That's
It's
deep.
just upgraded, right?
Right.
It's just
And
upgraded. You
that's
created a
heartbreaking to
new
think that because that means like
generation
where's it going
curse,
next?
a new one.
A new
Think
one.
about it. You said it yourself.
Mhm.
Are we creating a new generational curse?
Yep.
Is everything so quick and so accessible
Ooh, so did they have
that
to upgrade the simulation? Did they have to upgrade the loop slash matrix? Was it a complete upgrade?
metaverse?
Mm. Ooh, let me light my siege. Ooh, go through spirit, because I'm telling you, it's mm,
It's called the metaverse.
metaverse. Yep.
Everybody's in the simulation, man. Everybody's in the matrix. For real, for real.
And we've all been
Everybody's in
upgraded.
the matrix. Everybody. Is it the red pill or the blue pill? Which one are you going to take?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you something. Even though we run so hard away from the old, you know, some of the old ain't bad
It's
because
not.
because in the old system that they had lined up back in that old matrix, what they learned how to do is they learned how to survive.
Right.
They learned how to take plants and herbs and flowers and make something that can heal you. Today,
Hmm.
everything is manufactured to try to cut away. But if you take this, then it's going to mess with that. And if you take something else to fix that, it's going to drop that. And now
Right.
your body's dependent upon all of this medication. But the old ways, they taught you how to use herb. They told you how to identify plants.
Right.
They taught you how to find water.
But that's
So what
that's
makes the old way so bad?
that's information they don't want us to have. So, they have to replace that with something that's going to help keep us in the situation, in a mind state, in a heart space. Zombies, because the food we eat, it makes you zombie like.
Yeah.
Even
Slug,
the drinks, they do nothing good
girl,
for us.
growing up, keep it a buck. Have you ever heard anybody back in the day talk about gluten?
Nah, because them folks was cooking that good. They was cooking that good food.
You ever heard anybody talk about gluten? Now
Now,
all of a sudden everybody's so gluten sensitive.
and I can
Now I
remember
knew
when that
about the milk,
transition happened because I'm 40, so I do remember vaguely when that transition happened, when the craze of gluten free or whatever came,
but I'm
something they
saying,
placed upon us.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's reading the label now. Everybody's looking at all of this stuff. This shit is all fake anyway. Today, the meat don't even taste like meat. I don't even like meat. It gets
Nothing,
me sick. I eat
nothing.
fish like my daughter. My daughter's been a pescatarian slash vegetarian since I don't even know.
Yeah, that's
Maybe 4 or 5 years now.
mm.
And they were like, "Oh, she can't do that because of the mercury." Listen, she is eating this way, and I find myself eating like her more and more and more.
But even the oranges don't taste the same. Cheese doesn't
Because
taste the same.
nothing is the same. It's all
Nothing.
fake.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to staying on topic, the old ways versus the new ways.
Old curses versus
Everybody
new curses.
everybody is thinking about the old ways were so bad because it was just like something that your parents it just wasn't the right way because we're going to do some new stuff and innovate it and this and that and this and that. You just got deeper into the matrix.
I think the old ways was an easier fix than the new ways. Like
We lived off the land, baby.
whatever
We knew how
issues
to
that
grow things.
right.
We go to the grocery store now. You know what I'm saying? At least when you was on back then, you was able to get stuff off the land.
Yeah.
Grow some corn in your backyard. Go out there and pick something off the tree. I heard another content creator. I know I'm going off topic, but I heard a content creator say one time he lived in Florida, right?
Hmm.
Orlando area. And growing up, they took for granted that they can go into their yard. Hi, Money Taya, how are you? Hi, Transparent Talk. Hi, doll. Um, I heard
Hello,
him say that he
transparent
used to
world.
take
Hi,
for granted,
Tiger.
like they used to say. They used to say that they can go and pick something off the tree. They could go pick an orange off, right?
Right.
And now he said, now he can't even find um an orange tree. He said, you know what you find now? He said, you find mango trees. He says, since when do they grow mango trees in Florida? He said, what
Whew.
happened to those damn orange trees? you know? So I
Yeah.
digress. I just had to like really just you know, talk about that real quick. But like I said,
Transparency. Hello, goddess. Money Taya. Hello, goddesses.
oh, hello, welcome to Blended Healing. This is a really good conversation. I'm glad you guys came in. And this is definitely a safe place for you can just kick off your shoes and just be yourself, your authentic self. We're talking about the state of our children. And we're really, and I'm so happy that Wise Woman is here um, to really talk about it. And let's just, see where things are going. And it's an important topic for our kids right now. And we're up to talking about let me get this over here so you can see the topic right now. So right now we're talking about the old ways versus the new way. And what does that mean when it comes to our children? You know, we run away from the old ways trying to improve on each generation, each generation, right? But then you have a situation where now you created something new. You broke old um, bonds or generational curses, but did you create a new one?
Yeah.
You know, so that's where we are with that. If you guys would like to chime in or have any comments on that, so we're talking about the
And
state of
maybe
our children.
maybe the new ways would not have gone so deep down the rabbit hole if we incorporated a lot of the old ways. Maybe like a blend of them would have helped because that we have to evolve. There's got to be somewhere that is leading to. So we understand that this new generation is going to go here, but let's keep them grounded. Let's keep some of those old ways in the home, so at least they're still getting some of that nurturing, or being raised by both, because you could be raised by social media but still be raised in those old ways too, where you're very present.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say that there's a time and a place. Like I said, the new
Right.
matrix for us is the metaverse. Everything's the
And
metaverse,
the
and
upgrade.
everybody is looking at social media as this is what we want to be. It's all fake. So if you show an example of what it is to be really truly in this world, like I had to do a ride by with a friend. Like I grew up, you know what I'm saying? I can toggle between the hood and middle class. I could do that. Always
Yeah,
did that
absolutely.
in my
Me
life.
too.
But my friend who was very, very cool with me, um I had to literally take her kids to the hood. Oh, you think all of this is cute and funny, right? I said, let me show you something. I had to take them to the hood. I said, this is what you think this is everything is? You think that smoking weed and drinking all of that is just this is all good, right? This is fun. Because my friend was a real staunch Christian and her kids were running them up. So I had to take them to the hood. I said, you think, because I got right down on their level. I'm like, yeah, let me holler at you. I put them in the car and I drove them to the hood. This is what you want? You see people drunk standing up against the wall. That's what you see for yourself. That's what you see. You see people over there. You see them nodding over there because they done shot up some good heroin. You see the dope boys on the corner. That's what you strive to be. You know what I'm saying? So, and I needed to open up their eyes so they could see. This ain't what you all think. You think the flashing and the dude and the money and the cars and all of that. What do you think they're getting that from? This is the
Right.
result of where they're getting that money from.
And what's even more wicked and sick is that you have these middle class, and hell, we're gonna even say upper class kids that want to go to these situations. Like they're
Fact.
not even born in it, but they actually choose. They want to go into the hoods, into the gangs, and they come from the. Now, I wouldn't say their homes will be good, but they just come from lifestyles. But they choose to come into the hoods because they glorify it and they think it's so great and so fun. What did I
Yeah,
didn't
take
see
them
what you
down
said?
and let them see it for themselves, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they choose the streets. That's right, Money Taya.
Yeah, they choose the streets
Mhm.
until they really get into them streets and waiting for the streets to tell them what they need to get from them. You know what I mean? You think that you're gonna get up here and flash all of this dough and stuff like that. As soon as you know, you go all caught up and you in the middle of that. Next thing you know, you slinging
And this is
because
why they won't allow conscious rappers because they need these rappers to glorify this lifestyle because they want to pull these babies to to that lifestyle. Because even in mama 90s and we had more conscious music, more conscious rappers. But now it's nothing but street, so that's all the kids get, and it's the hot shit.
yeah, that's what they make it all flash. You know what I'm saying? They pulling out stacks of cash, but what did they do for that? What did they do? So now I
Right.
go back to my original question. I go back to my original question right now. Old ways versus new ways. And you know what I find that's so interesting right now is that some of these parents that are more conscious are actually teaching their children to go back to learning how to grow their own food.
Right.
They're teaching them a craft.
Oh
They're
yes.
teaching them how they can make money when the world changes because they know it's about to change. And some of these parents are already doing that. But how do we save the other ones? How do we save them? So at the end of the day, here's my question. Who's raising them? Who's nurturing them? Where's grandma? Is grandma here to help? Where's pops? Where's the father figure? Do you have a support system? And if you do, what does that look like? Gangs are glorified. Violence is glorified. The old way
SEX
versus the new ways.
SEX is glorified.
Yeah. But guess what? How are we going to change it? What's the change? What's the end game? Let me catch up to some of these comments.
I know. I need to go back to look at the comments. I have to. I'm on my phone.
Okay. So Money Tire says that TT right. I know two people that had both parents silver spoon children, but they still chose the streets. TT
Right.
says that Tire, that's what I keep hoping for, but I'm looking and asking how. TT also responded. She said, I don't know if that's the answer anymore, Tire.
Mm.
And right now we need to,
It's
Money Tire is agreeing, but at the same time, she's
right.
also saying we need to do more outreach to these kids.
Right.
Again, old way versus new way.
Old. Yeah.
Like I said, we had a support system. Like you enter the block, they freaking know whose kid you are, and they can chastise you right there on the spot. But we didn't get that. We didn't think that was love. Again, I go back to what you have missed, TT and Money Tire, is that we were recognizing their emotions. How do kids speak out, even adults speak out and verbalize what their emotions are? There's only two main emotions. Two, love and fear. There's a chart I can share with you as a tool, you know, that an adult can use as well as equipping your children to put this into feelings. so you know how they're feeling. You know, that could be a tool that they can use. Nobody needs to know that, but it's you and the other child and the child, or you and another adult. You sit down and say, "Ma, let me talk to you for a minute." You know, let me talk to you, sis. Let me holler at you for a minute. I'm not trying to be offensive to you, but I think this is a good tool. Are they going to accept it or not? You can offer it. You can
Right?
definitely offer it. You know what I mean?
Will they
So it'll
receive it?
give them, right, it gives them the tools to get in touch with their feelings. And I'm definitely going to share that chart. I definitely am.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the change could be, wise woman? How can we change this? How can we help our brothers and sisters and these kids right now? What can we do?
That's a very good question, but I think we are so far gone that honestly, I think it's going to take a lot of healing and growth and working on ourselves before we can even reach out to figure out what we're going to do with the babies. Because those babies are like that because of the ones who raised them. So I don't know, maybe we need to start with some self-reflecting. And I do believe in what did Money Taya said, the outreaching thing. I like when you said
Hmm.
that you know how you show attention to your kids' friends and even just kids in the street. You know, if I'm going to the mailbox and I see kids, I interact with them. You know, small
Right.
things like that. But I think a lot of the change is going to start with us.
I agree. I agree. Um, they have to be more. We as a people have to be more receptive. The village thing, it sounds a little cliche, but the older I get, the more and more I lean towards that.
I'm
I
still
want
with it.
somebody to tell me if you see mine's doing something, I want you to tell me. And now let me get to the bottom of that. I'm not going to take offense to that. You know what I'm saying? If you see mine somewhere in a compromising position, and I know that you're a neighbor, and I know that there's something ain't right, go snatch mine. Get mine. Don't sit there and let the street swallow my kid. You let me know about mine. It's important, you know. If you
Right,
feel that, listen, this kid I know is suicidal, mom. I don't need to know all the business. But you come to them and you say, I think this kid is suicidal. Why do you feel that way? You know? And you
right,
and you recognize that, and then what can you do? You go to the parent, um, you go to the parent and you try to tell the parent that, listen, I think something's wrong with your kid, and the first thing they want to do is defend the fact that you trying to challenge my parenting skills. Nah,
right,
man, we trying to put the light on the fact that your something ain't right with your kid. TT
right,
said that she agrees, that she also believed that adults need to be mindful of today's type of youth when they're trying to reach out. Approach has to be right and to be accepted. You're absolutely
mm.
correct.
I 100%
Because
agree. Yeah.
yeah, because people are just like, yo, why are you talking to me about my kids? They get so defensive. You know what I'm
And then
saying? But
some people do it in a petty way too. It's not also it's also how you approach that person and tell them with a stank attitude or you need to get your child or
yeah, yeah, it's all about delivery.
instead of
Because are
being
you
warm about it.
are you doing it to push their face more into the dirt? Or you
Right.
doing it that people are so defensive right now? They don't know which
Mhm.
way you coming, and they don't recognize help when they see help. They
Right.
don't recognize it anymore.
Right.
Everybody's out for themselves or what they can do. They in their own grind. They're in their own world. They're in their own head. You don't know if they're suffering from something mental. You know what I mean? Or what's going on in their heart. You don't know. Like I said, everybody has a backstory, but you don't know. But it's all about how do you approach that. It's all about your approach. It's not pretty much what you say, it's about how you say
How
it.
you say it. It's not what
It's
you
how you
do, it's
say
how
it.
you do it.
That part. So thank you, Taya. I appreciate you. Um, but I'm just saying that it's really hard. Like where can we start with that? How can we affect change? How can we affect change? I think
And
the easiest way to start is if you know somebody that's going through that, sit down and have a grown up conversation when they're, put them at an ease. Don't say the words just straight at them. Say, may I offer? May I offer? Start that way. Because
right.
if you offer, they can tell you, no, I don't want to hear your offer. Or they can say, okay, it helps them relax a little bit. And then
And
you
then
go into how you recognize what they may be going through because you're seeing it because you recognize it from you.
mhm.
Look, sis, I see that you struggling a little bit. What's going on? You good? I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah. Listen, man, I'm just, no harm, no foul. I'm just, listen, if you ever want to talk, man, just holler at me. I'm just offering you a place that where, no, no judgment, no heat, no judgment. Come talk to me for a minute, sis. I want to talk to you. So now you got them in their headspace thinking about what you want to talk to me about, you
Right.
know, and then either they'll blow you off completely or that's going to bother them. And then the next time they see you, they're going to say, what you want to talk to me about? Man, I'm just, checking on you, making sure, everything's good. How's your kids doing? I'll be worrying about my kids. My kids are fine. Okay, so your kids are fine, but how are you? What's going on with you? Things are so hard out here right now. Are you
Because
good?
your kids are not fine if you're not fine.
Exactly. If you
So
if
what's
I if
really
I
good?
can see if I can see something's going on with you, sis, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Everybody else can see it too. But maybe not, because I can recognize a part of me inside of you. And
And
then
it's
they'll
crazy.
pique their interest again, you
Right.
know? And then they may be open to hear what you're offering for them to know. May I offer, you know,
It's
approach them
already
like that.
it's already kind of strange with the the statistics and the number of single mothers. This is it blows my mind how they didn't kind of lean on, how we don't lean on each other like that. That should have
Yeah.
never been an issue. And
Plus, it's shown as a sign of weakness. It's just shown as a sign of weakness.
that's a
That's what it
huge
is. And
huge issue.
nobody wants to be set up that way to
And that's
show
a
any type
problem
of weakness.
with the melanated woman. That is a huge problem. Is
Facts.
being able to kind of step back, maybe take the lower road to calm down, think about it. They got to be so hardcore because we talked about earlier, having to go so hard for the family.
Yeah, but
Vulnerable.
but you know what it is? I think when it comes to change, it's all about like reaching out to somebody that you already know. And you just striking up a conversation. Like
Mhm.
say for instance, it could be your best friend. It could be somebody that you recognize that you're comfortable enough with that you can approach them that way. You don't know by saying that to them or whatever offer that you may give them that they're going to take it to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and so on and so forth. That's the beginning of change.
It's starting to start.
Yeah, that could be the start of the dialogue right there, just to get them to talk. Because if the parents aren't okay, them kids ain't okay. And all the violence that I saw today in research, kids killing their parents, kids killing other kids, like for
You
real,
see
for real.
the little babies. I mean, the little babies, like
Little
4 and
baby.
5, shooting their parents. That's a whole nother level.
That's a whole nother level. But the simulations that they're giving these kids, Like,
Right.
I didn't even know before Grand Theft Auto was a big thing. Like, my
Hmm.
granddaughter was hooked on this game because she went to another friend's house and they were playing this game. And then I was like, oh, well, what does that mean? Oh, you take cars off the street and then you drive down the street. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, why would you want to learn how to steal something? So, I was like, all right, we get the game.
Oh, Grand
Child,
Theft Auto, they do way more than that.
child, let me tell you something. When I saw that game, I was like, oh Lord. Oh, well, that's her pimp. And she the hoe.
Right.
And then they change the radio stations and they thumping and they going down the street. This one is pulling out an AK. This one has a 45. I'm like, yo, what is that, yo?
They could drink, smoke crack. They do everything. My child's father played that game, so that game is that's ridiculous. It's real life.
What you talking about? This is a simulation.
Yeah.
They're learning how to do this in a video game.
So
So
it's
times the video
normal to
game,
them.
times the videos that you're seeing glorifying sex, violence, and all of this. All right. Times all of that. This is what's being fed into our children on a daily basis.
But we're
And don't get
starving
it
them.
twisted. SpongeBob is the same way.
Oh,
SpongeBob
you want to go? You going to the
is the same
cartoons?
way. You
Now you
think
want to
they
talk
safe,
about these
right?
cartoons? What was the other one? Barney.
Barney with the stupid purple dinosaur. Oh Lord. Want to touch on everybody, be kids, be friends. Mr. Roger, I would never let anybody in his house. You feel me? Friends in the neighborhood. No, stranger danger, stranger danger. I mean, I'm making a little joke of it and everything, but damn.
Yeah.
I had to resort to my daughter watching the Backyardigans. At least they were the Backyardigans sung. It was made by a melanated woman,
Yeah.
and they did is learn how to do make believe, hunting yetis, and they learned geography and they learned about different things in the
Yeah.
backyard.
Yeah, that's what I let my daughter watch, a lot of the animal cartoons. I think she was in love with Little Bill, so
Oh, Little Bill. I love Little
yeah,
Bill.
she was in love with Little Bill, and I could dig it.
Stuff like that. But it's like
Yeah,
we have to watch what they're watching too, because they
absolutely.
be slicking, they be pushing an adult agenda and that stuff too.
And see, now
Uh,
that I can't watch so closely what my daughter watches because she's a teenager now, I have to understand and already know that she has access to everything on that phone. I can't stop a lot of stuff, control a lot of stuff, but I can be there and explain a lot of stuff, put her on game about a lot of stuff, build her on her inside, not starve her for the things we're starving these babies. That's what we got to do, is stop starving them for letting them know who they are, the power they have in themselves, the knowledge, how great they truly are. And this stuff is just secondary.
yeah, because I want to know what your grades is like.
Right.
I want to know what you're learning in school, honey. I was the worst enemy. I was in public enemy number one when my kids were in school here.
Right.
Girl, what? They see me coming. The first thing the principal would say is, "What did I do now?" And I was like, "You didn't do nothing. Why are you on the defense?" They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, no, I'm involved. I want
Yeah.
to know who you are." My kids were so bad, they'd be like, "We can't do nothing.
But do you know
You know
that
this teacher, that teacher, you know security, you know the principal." Yeah, I
some
know
people
everybody.
some people will treat your kid based off of the parent's presence. If they know that that kid's parent is not a present parent, they will probably neglect them or treat them less than. But if they know that parent is present, they might, okay, got to be a little bit more hands on, got to pay this one a little bit more attention. That's another good thing about being hands on, because it lets that teacher, principal, counselor, whomever is dealing with your child know that someone is here. And don't you forget that.
Salute, Amari. Salute. Thanks for coming in and getting into the topic.
Amari, what up?
Salute
What
to
up?
you. I appreciate you for coming in. Really do. But yeah, it's like, what's the end game now? Like, what we gonna do? Like I said, I think that if we roll it back, I think that we can. Um, we have a lot of things to think about.
Yeah.
We have a
You
lot
gotta
of
dig
things to
deep.
talk about.
Gotta
So I
dig
just
deep
want to
in
go
you.
back and touch on what the things that we talked about tonight, and just give some thought provoking things. So the first thing we talked about is, who's raising our children? We talked about that tonight. Those who are coming in late, you can definitely check the replay on this, but I'm giving you some wise woman and myself are giving you some things to think about so you can have the conversation at your table. So you can try to affect change on your side. Who's raising your children? Is it the TV? Is it the streets? Is it the real parents in the home? What are their morals? What do they stand on? I've been touching on a moral outline for the last few days. You might want to go and check that out, about Mayat energy, the energy of Mayat. It's almost similar to the Ten Commandments for that we receive through the Bible teachings from the Jewish people. But we, as a melanated people, we had it already in our background before the world became the world. When the world was in chaos and darkness, we had this. So there is a foundational videos that I've been doing a series on affirmations, things to think about. These are all thought provoking things. These are things that you can sit on and learn how to balance the darkness that we're all in. Things that you can incorporate inside of your daily to try to make yourself a better person, or that you can benefit from that outline. The second thing we talked about tonight is, who's nurturing them? Are your kids being nurtured, or they slide up next to something cold and electronic? Who's nurturing your kids? This is something that you can talk about in your circle. Where's Big Mama at? Is there any Big Mamas left? Or they out in the club popping their fingers with their kids? Is there a Big Mama anymore that the kids can run to where they know that they're safe? Or is Big Mama safe at all? Where is where's Pop Pop? Where's the father figure? Where does he land in at? Is there one in your neighborhood that can help the other kids who don't have a father figure? A strong male present that can teach them right from wrong? But what is right from wrong? What is your definition of that? This is something that we also talked about tonight. Do our kids have a support system? And if they do, what does that look like? What does that look like to them? What does that look like for you as an adult? Help training these kids. Something else you could talk about in your circle. Are kids being pushed into gangs because they're being glorified right now? That this is the thing? Or, like Wise Woman said, representing your block. Ain't even got to be an organized set. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, it's a graduation point. If you rep in your block, eventually you're going to end up in a set. What about the violence that our kids are seeing? There's all different types of violence: physical violence, mental violence. It's all different types of violence, sexual violence. Are they seeing that? And if it is, how's it showing up? We talked about tonight old ways versus new ways. Wise woman put a great spin on it by saying breaking generational curses. I put another spin on that. Are we creating new ones? What can we do to an effective change for our children? Our children are dying out here, man. The parents are dying out here. What can we do to affect the change? And at the end of the day, what's the end game? Where do we want to see ourselves? So as we're wrapping this up tonight, I just want to stop in and say, wise woman, please give them some of your gems for their journey.
Um, I don't know. I think basically just touching on this topic. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just to kind of stick with the topic, I don't know. I feel like we need to dig deep on this situation with these babies, acknowledging and kind of admitting that there is absolutely a problem. Like people don't know the numbers of these babies that are being kidnapped, sex trafficked. They're huge numbers yearly. Um, just babies being murdered, the numbers are higher than they ever been. Mental health, we talked about that. These are the babies. I think we just need to really dig deep, acknowledge it, and own it, and start somewhere, whether it be the smallest situation, your neighbor's child, your own cousin, little cousin, or nephews, or your friends, your kids' friends. Just starting one baby at a time. We starving them for what they really need, which is to know themselves, the truth about who they are, what's really real out here. And that's all I have to say about that when it comes to these babies. It's a real situation, and we have to physically say it, speak it, own it, and admit it that it's real and it's getting worse.
Agreed. Thank you so much, wise woman, for joining me tonight and to really talk about these topics that affect our children. I just need this to be a situation where it's a conversation starter that you can sit at the table with your friends at a round table and just bring up these topics. Start the conversation in your own clique. Start the conversation because this is not the way. Every time you turn around, every freaking 5 minutes you find out there's been some type of black on black violence.
Mm.
When back in the day, we used to rely on each other to get through. That's an old way. The new way is every man for themselves. A barrel of crabs trying to climb to get out the barrel, and by any means necessary. So you're going to get out of that barrel and leave the rest, right? Did you ever think about going back to try to get the people out of the barrel too?
Mm.
Mental health is very, very prevalent right now. It's more so right now than anything. But what are we going to do about that? So please have these conversations at your tables. Please talk about it amongst your friends. If you have a platform, bring it up in your platform. It's important that we get this word out and save our children, save ourselves. Listen to your kids. Even if you have to put your face behind a cardboard and you don't look directly at them so they can get comfortable enough so they can talk amongst themselves. You know what I'm saying? So they don't feel at a place talking to an adult or a parent who's supposed to give them unconditional love.
Or judged by whatever they have to say.
Right. Don't judge them. Welcome, Miss Scorpio Life. I appreciate you for coming through.
Miss
I really
Scorpio, the
do.
goddess, hello.
Welcome to Blended Healing. Please have this conversation. Please. Like I said, if you're a content creator, or if you have access to a platform, please, please, please have this conversation. Time is ticking. We done ran out of time. When am I say time is ticking? We ran out of time. Our kids
Yeah,
are dying. They're
yeah.
dying.
It's a wrap. It's go time. It's
This
time
is
to get
go time.
seated and booted. It's go time.
You know, our kids are dying out here, man. We got to grab these kids. We got to turn them around somehow. If you can't turn the kid around, you got to turn the parent around.
Yeah,
You got to do
that's where it starts.
something,
That's where it starts with us.
you know. Think about it. Have this conversation, please. Thank you, wise woman, so much. I appreciate you for coming and joining in the conversation. I thank you for everybody who has pulled up and shown love to the panel and weighing in on some of the topics that we were talking about tonight. But all roads lead back to our kids. What are we doing about our children? How are we going to save them? Have that hard conversation. Have it. It's time to step up. It's time to awaken other people about what's really going on and get out of this matrix that we're in. Salute, Shank Rock. Salute. Thank you so much for coming through, brother. I
Shank
appreciate you.
Rock. What up, Shank Rock? And it's an honor, Blended Healing. Like, share, subscribe. It's an honor to be able to politic about these type of topics in a safe place. I appreciate it. Sending love, strength, and clarity to everybody. Gratitude.
I appreciate you so much. I really do. We're gonna try to have these round tables at least once a month to cover topics that really need to be talked about, that really, really need to be talked about. And I so appreciate you all. And anything that you feel that you want to discuss, you want to talk, you know how to find me. I'm here on YouTube now. I have an Instagram page. Reach out. Let's talk about it. I want to make sure that you know that blended healing is a safe space along your journey where you could talk about things. You know, I want it to be that space. I want it to be a safe space where we can come together and have these conversations with respect for one another. You know, you can agree to disagree as long as you respect. And we're going to work very hard to make sure that we can just rise up above what we already know. We've been living in dark for so long. It's time to come out of the dark and into the light. So again, I want to thank you. I'm not going to keep y'all much longer. We've been on here for about 2 hours now. But please share the video, like it, subscribe. There's some tools on this YouTube page that you can go back and listen to different tools that I have out there to help you to get through your day. You know, if you're feeling some type of way, like I said, I promised to put up that feeling words chart that you can have a conversation with your children with, or even another adult to help them put their feelings into words. All right. So at least you can start the conversation with the feeling words. Once again, thank you for stopping by Blended Healing tonight. I totally appreciate you, love. Y'all be a great day and have a great night.